With Pierre-Luc Dubois finally set to make his Winnipeg Jets debut tomorrow night against the Calgary Flames, I want to take a time and finally talk about starting this kind of get into this process of reviewing the Patrik Laine trade and starting to get an idea of, how it's starting to settle for each club. Now, we've already seen more, obviously, from the side of Columbus with the fact that Jack Roslovic has already played 7 games and Patrik Laine has played about 5, I believe, as well. And because of that, they are starting to, fit into the roster more. They're starting to settle, and we're starting to get an idea of what Columbus's new identity is going to be with Patrik Laine on that roster. But I want to talk about someone who, in my opinion, is having probably the best play they've ever had at the NHL level so far in their career, and that is Jack Roslovic. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because I was very, very heavy criticizing of Jack Roslovic's game in the past, and although I'm still not a giant fan of him as a player for the ways that he plays the game, especially when he was in Winnipeg, I want to give him huge props and credits because he is absolutely killing it with the Columbus Blue Jackets right now. Since Roslovic's joined Columbus, in 7 games played with the club so far, he's got 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points, a point per game, and not to mention, in tonight's game against the Carolina Hurricanes, he absolutely dangled them in overtime to give them a fantastic highlight reel goal. And he has just been playing probably the best hockey he's played in his career, none his less so far in these 7 games. And I want to talk to him talk about him in particular because as someone who's watched him since he was a rookie in almost every game he played in, I have never seen him play with this much confidence before, and I'm really happy to see it because I've always thought that Roslovic had a ton of skill. It always felt like he just didn't have that physicality, that right mindset, just something never clicked for Roslovic when he was in Winnipeg. We saw spots of it, especially when he had that hat-trick game. He's had other elements in his past where he looked very deadly, had some great goals, he scored just some good offensive rushes he was involved in, and he looked like a great offensive player with a ton of potential. But nonetheless, I never thought that he would be able to put that package together because he had so many flaws in his game. He had lack of confidence. He didn't play with a lot of physicality. He didn't keep his head up. He made a lot of gave up a lot of turnovers, I should say, and he just didn't create a lot of puck movement and a good puck possession while in the offensive zone with the Jets. But that has completely gone out the window for Roslovic since joining Columbus. He has looked fantastic. He's getting a lot of power play opportunities. He's looking great within that top 6. He's starting to develop a lot of chemistry within Columbus's top 6 core wingers, and that's really interesting to see because there's a lot of potential now with Roslovic to really blossom into something very beneficial for the Columbus Blue Jackets moving forward. And the fact that Roslovic does have the ability to play center, that is a position he has played, and the fact that the Columbus Blue Jackets have just lost Pierre-Luc Dubois, having Roslovic starting to play consistently like this is going to be a very, very good bright spot on their team because it's this potential for the future. And that's anything you can want with a guy like Roslovic. Every single Columbus fan, when they got Roslovic, they were happy to get a native kid of the city, and they were just excited to see what potentially he could bring to the club. But to have him start like this within 7 games has been fantastic, and I can only imagine how excited Columbus fans are to have this type of guy, especially considering they only gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. And that's what I want to talk to about as well. Are the Jets regretting this trade by now? Let me ask Jets fans that question. Do you think the Jets management is already looking and thinking, did we make a mistake dealing or undervaluing Jack Roslovic when he was on our team? And if you had asked me that, even yes, honestly, if you're asking me as looking at the trade, I still think we could have got more for Roslovic. So in that hindsight, I do think that the Jets could have got more for him. I always have thought that since the trade happened. But nonetheless, there's no way the Jets are regretting this because you have to take into consideration that hindsight is 2020. Without Jack Roslovic being traded and not starting the season and whatnot, not even playing with the Jets this season at all before the trade goes down due to the fact that he was demanding a trade, Andrew Kopp has blossomed up into a better top 6 position with the Jets and having a lot of opportunity. Guys like Christian Vesalainen, Nikolai Ehlers, who's already established top 6 elite talent, is just blossoming more and more with his offensive game and is looking fantastic. Andrew Kopp, like I said, is looking good. Adam Lowry getting a lot of opportunity, and now with the addition of Pierre-Luc Dubois, potentially additions and also surprising performances from guys like Mason Appleton and even Christian Vesalainen in games, I would think that the Jets are not regretting this because I think that for the first time in a long time, the Winnipeg Jets and Paul Maurice finally have the center depth and the type of team that they want to roll out consistently, and I think that they're very happy with the way that their team is structured right now. So I don't think there's any regret from the Jets side of this and from management side. Maybe they're thinking we could have got more than a 3rd, but like I've said, hindsight is 2020. In a situation like this, even me, and who has seen bright spots in Roslovic's game, even though I've been a heavy criticizer of him, I do think that no one would have expected a start like this for a guy, especially considering that he hadn't played to start the season, and to come in this hot already is pretty interesting and pretty also awesome for Roslovic to have a good story like this. It sucks that he had to demand a trade and he went out the way he did, and I was annoyed by all that, but I love to see guys blossom and grow into good players, and I don't really care regardless of whether or not the situation was with him in Winnipeg now. I'm just happy to see that it's working out for him in Columbus, and it's also a good story. It's where he's from, it's the team he grew up watching, so who would not want to play like that and have a situation like that? So it's all good for them and good for the city of Columbus and the fan base of the Blue Jackets, and I think that is good, and I think that's why I want to talk about this, not because of the fact that I'm jealous or because I'm salty at the fact that we didn't get anything more for Roslovic, but because I think this trade is really already starting to work out in a lot of good ways for the Jets and for Columbus, from the fan base side, from what we see on the ice, and just a lot of other areas. The Columbus fans are getting a guy who wants to be there, who is from the state, who's from the city, who loves to play there with all the family connections and whatnot, and has started having a really hot start. And then not only that, you're getting rid of Pierre-Luc Dubois, who obviously had some issues in the locker room, didn't want to be there, and the Jets are getting center depth at a position that they felt that they've needed desperately. A lot of guys are blossoming on the Jets that weren't blossoming and giving the opportunity due to the fact that Laine was there. So I think that this trade, all of it right now, the way it's looking so early into the season and so early to even review a trade of this magnitude, I think that it is a very interesting thing to look at, and I think that it's very also unique situation, and I think that it's a very fun one to look at, because I think that the Jets and Columbus are not regretting anything to do with this trade so far. I actually think that every element of this trade, even for the fact that Pierre-Luc Dubois hasn't played at the time I'm recording this, it's really starting to look good for both clubs, in my opinion, moving forward after this trade now, and it's really starting to make me swing. It's never going to take away the sting of losing Laine, but nonetheless, I'm excited to see what the future has to offer, but also I'm excited to see what the future of this trade and how this develops with these players and their progress in the NHL and their development with their new clubs. It's going to be an interesting story and an interesting thread to follow throughout the season. Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below, Jets fans and Columbus fans. How happy? Let me know all your thoughts down about Jack Roslovic. I'd love to hear all your guys' opinions on him so far, from a Jets fan to a Columbus fan. Same with Laine. I know Laine got benched today, but I don't want to talk about that because, one, Torts wouldn't give a lot of details about it, and the only thing I know is that he missed a assignment that caused a goal defensively, so obviously Torts has had a history of doing that, but I don't want to talk about something that I haven't, witnessed a lot of there, but I know Laine has been looking pretty bomb on that power play for you guys, so I hope that he continues to do that, and hopefully his defensive game and whatnot improves with the club. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, peace, love, and positivity. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, regardless of the team you root for. Turn on notifications if you haven't already, and bye-bye.